What's going on, guys? I'm SimpleSimon. I'm your comic book noob. Welcome to the first episode of the NOOB Rebirth in 2024.
Are we going to give it a different name?
No, we'll wait till we reach to episode 100, I think.
Okay.
And then we'll rebrand again. Did you guys know that this show was originally called the New 50 Noob? For those newer subscribers, you might not know that. But then we created this show to be an exclusive Mark show.
Exclusive Mark show.
Yeah, exclusive to you. In fact, I think there was maybe 2 episodes in the beginning I did without you just because it was meant to be my comic book show. Anyway, I'm rambling. Hope you guys had a happy new year and let's do this. Come a little bit closer.
I don't want to come closer. You don't want me to come closer.
Because you're always so close. If we're touching elbows, you're too close.
But you don't want me to come closer.
Stand over there. Right where that rack is there.
Are you telling me to stand where to stand in my own shop?
Yes. Oh, that's a cool t-shirt. Say hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark. Hey, glad to be back. So, tell me, what are we talking about today?
All right, so.
What are we talking about?
So something's been going on at the moment, and to be honest, I don't even really know, but I got filled in a little bit. Shout out to Rob Fatstacks who filled me in a little bit. I just asked, what is the deal with this going on with CGC at the moment?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So I believe what happened, and again, I could be completely wrong here, but this is not the main topic of today. I believe what happened is someone tampered with a CGC slab.
Someone from CGC, like someone who at CGC.
So again, I haven't been following the stories. I've just been seeing a lot of people talking about CGC, but I believe what someone told me was someone found a way to open up a slab and put a book in there, which was a different version of that book.
I thought if you crack open.
Yeah, but
slab, you can't reseal it.
But I think they were able to basically swap a book out.
Yeah, but I just thought when you crack open a slab, you can't reseal it.
Well, I think maybe that's what happened.
But how do they work this out?
I don't know.
I have so many questions.
I don't know the story.
I really ill-prepared as usual.
As usual. We are never prepared.
As usual, just no research. No, nothing.
So, no, because the whole topic isn't about, we're not talking about the CGC.
Oh, we're not talking about CGC.
It's leading to something else.
Oh, okay.
But my question today is more about investing in comics and things like that. I think someone posted a video just like, are my comics still going to be worth anything with CGC's reputation going down the gutter? And I know you've always talked about, obviously there are people who like to invest in comics, like it's definitely, the nerd stock market, as you like to always say.
Stock exchange, absolutely.
What do you think the risks are of getting into something like that? For someone new, especially.
It's a risk. Everything's a risk, mate. Everything's a risk. Everything is a potential scam. And the value of the MCU has gone down dramatically. So whereas in the past where the MCU was huge, was not striving, was just out of the stratosphere, hugely popular, and sadly that's not the case anymore. So that resonates into the vintage, or all the characters that they're introducing, not lately, but in the past, old characters that they would introduce, their first appearance and their comic books would go higher in value. Whereas now the MCU is now all about comic book characters that have been created in comic books I'm talking about, have been created in the last maybe 10 years. And no one really cares. The MCU resonated into the comic books. As a comic book retailer, I saw that dramatically. DC as well, not as much, but more, the sales of Infinity Gauntlet, the comic book trade, dropped off. All the major events, Civil War trade has dropped off sales. That resonates, and so it is a risk. And at the moment, the stock exchange, now I would say, is the time to buy. It's a buyer's market because the prices have dropped.
The prices have dropped. What I've found in my time, obviously, is, so when I first started collecting comic books, was really the first time I was really kind of going after a lot of keys. I don't really chase keys too much anymore, like big keys, because I can't afford them. When I first started collecting comic books and I started getting into characters, I was like, I would like to have the first appearance of them. They were much more affordable. So a lot of the books I have, the bigger books I have, I only paid like $100 for them at most. And now there's no way I'll even come close to that. The thing I'm finding is obviously classic characters their value is always kind of going to be up there. But obviously newer characters, I think the only new character I can think of which has really shocked everyone is Miles Morales.
Of course, that is,
right, Ultimate Fallout.
But that's that's a speculation book.
But it's held its value and it's kind of done really
because
well.
people are speculating that they will eventually put him in live action.
Everything else is like spec of the week type stuff. And then you've got the characters who are kind of going to hold value, but you're still only looking at a $100, $200 book for like a modern new character. My problem is the classic characters, the value is so high now already. I feel like it's just too late to really get into the game. Exactly. Yeah. If you've been collecting for a long time, you were smart about it, yeah, you've probably collected multiple copies of a lot of these keys, but I just feel like some of the big books, like if you buy a first Wolverine, it's like a fucking $7,000+ book, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But like, you buy one of those,
absolutely,
you're not buying another one. And really, I mean, how much profit are you really going to gain?
Yeah, but look, agreed. I understand what you're saying.
Do you have that book, by the way?
No.
Would you have sold it if you had it?
No. Books like that don't sell overnight. You would have to go to a fair, you would have to put it up on a board, and it would probably sit there for a while, and you would have to be prepared to negotiate.
Yeah, so I think a lot of those big books, people will get into a back and forth conversation. Yeah, and it must be a scary thing to drop thousands and thousands of dollars on a book, right?
Yeah, of course, but some people have got that money to burn. A lot of people have that. A lot of people they invested in comic books not only because of the investment, and yes, an investment, but they also love comics. They love it, and a lot of the people who spend that kind of money on those books aren't for it's a double. They invest and they love. Whereas a lot of the books that come out now, that some books that when they hit the shelf, they're already skyrocket. They're the flippers. They're not doing it for the love; they're doing it for the money, right? So that's the difference. With the CGC thing, their reputation, may be taking a battering at the moment. But what people are going to do, and this is what I suggest people to do, because this is what I would do. Not that I'm a big slab guy, but whenever you want to sell a slab that's CGC now, you have to say pre-year. So people know that it was...
As in when it was graded or something?
Yeah, when it was slabbed, when it was graded. Because people are going to, it's like, AD and after, what I mean? Like BC and AD, Because people are going to be wondering when did they, was this with a dodgy CGC or was this with CGC was good?
Because I guess the whole thing is...
Sort of thing.
What can you do to make your book more valuable? You can get it graded by CGC, right?
Yeah, but there's others.
Yeah, I know, but CGC is like the creme de la creme.
Absolutely.
But the thing for me is,
which is I don't know why, because as I've always said, grading comics is not a university degree.
Yes.
It's not. It's a box ticking exercise, and it's based on the person experience with comic books and his eye.
That's the problem I've always had, because I've literally seen firsthand people who send a book off to CGC, and obviously they do the grade reveal thing, and they know for a fact, they're like, I know that this is not a 9.8, but it'll get a 9.8, right? So you're telling me basically that there's books out there that are graded 9.8, but they're not actually 9.8. So for someone who's a seller, or let's say even a collector, right? Are you happy knowing that you got the 9.8, or would you rather have what you think it truly should be? Because it's kind of shit that the standard, the gold standard is CGC, and they can't get something like this. There's no quality control. Yeah. If I'm getting a grade, does not matter to me at all. It's kind of like when people buy raw books, low grade better than no grade. With the graded books too, I couldn't give a shit. If I'm getting a good deal on it, as long as the book looks presentable, that's all I care.
I agree. Look, I'm not a big graded guy. I've got a couple of graded ones.
Really? I didn't know you had any.
Well, I've got ones signed by like Tom Taylor and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I've got one. Yeah. It's got Big City Comics on the logo.
Big City Comics on the logos, on the tag. When you have no competition, you can do what the fuck you want.
Well, they do have competition, but it's just nowhere near so.
Correct. And that's what I mean. Like we do have competition, but it's because CGC were the first ones, and everyone goes to CGC. And that's the whole point. I'm saying it's not a university degree to become a grader. Anyone can grade a comic book, slab it, and say, oh yeah, let's do it 9.8. I mean, you know, where's this guy's qualification? Where are these people's qualifications? You're putting thousands or hundreds of dollars on a book that you could have easily graded and slabbed, right? Just to get that CGC label. I just find it they take advantage of that as well, and that sucks.
I like graded books because, I mean, in the beginning, it took me a while before I got my first slab, but I think they look cool. Like, if you want to collect something, I think it looks good in a slab.
Is it because you're set in a trend? Like, did you see all your friends doing it?
No. In the beginning,
peer group pressure sort of stuff?
No, in the beginning, I didn't care at all. In fact, my first two slabs were given to me.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, did you start wanting the slabs because of your friends?
I don't know, because
your
I never
friends
really
were showing them off, and you wanted some slabs to show off.
I never really wanted them. My first slab was someone prize tagged me, and I got the first Deadpool in a Halo slab. Right, that was my first, and then I won a CGC slab from a giveaway. And when I was looking, I was like, "Oh, these are pretty cool." When you're holding it in your hand, it's a pretty cool thing. Yeah. And you know, if it's a book that's a favorite of yours, and I understand people who don't want to get graded, they want to be able to open the book, and that's cool. But if you really love a book and you just want it to be presented, I think it looks great in a slab.
I agree. I like that too. I agree with that. It's a very well presented book. But if you put a Halo book and a CGC book next to each other, slab, there's no difference.
Well, the CGC slab looks nicer.
No, it doesn't. It does. The same.
No, it looks better.
Okay.
It's all about that fancy label.
That little hologram, that fancy hologram that they have.
It just looks like a more presentable slab, I think. The whole point of this was just like whether or not getting into comic book investing is a smart idea. Like, the first book I ever sold, I bought it purely to sell. It was a Spider-Verse set. I bought it for $80. And at the time, the issue 6 alone was selling for, like, a couple of $100, like $300, let's say, and a graded version was going as much as $1,000 upwards, right? For a nothing book. It was just like a speculation book, right? And then I was able to sell it for about $220. But since then, I've got other books. Look, there's other books that I buy. I sometimes buy doubles of covers, and I think, you know what, one day in the future, when this book becomes unobtainable,
that's an investment.
Maybe it will be worth something.
Is,
But you know what I've found? Very rarely are you going to hit that or find that book that actually hits.
I agree with that. It's like, I'll give you an example. I had a full set of X-Men #1, 1990, or whatever year.
You sold that for a price that I think you got.
Yeah. No, I had mine signed. I had these signed, right? Okay. Certificated by Jim Lee, signed by Jim Lee, all 4 covers of the joining covers, right? This is when I had the Fitzroy store. But I remember buying those, and I remember buying them not to read them. I bought them as an investment. Right, and I knew one day, because I already had the originals, I hadn't really read them. I've still got them. I held on to them, and then when I opened up the store, bang, I put them out, And in some form, we all buy to invest in some form. That signature you line up to get. You've already got that. You probably buy a copy issue so you can read. That one you probably slab it, and bang, an investment. It's all an investment in different forms, and we all do it. You can do both, collect and invest. Of course you can. There's no rules to say you can't do that. You can do both. Of course, look at me. I love comic books. I collect, but I invested myself into a comic book store. So obviously I'm on a larger scale, but it's all comes down to what you want to do, and it always has been like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing I've learned. So in the beginning, you probably know I was really against flippers because I was missing out on books. Mark's like, dude, I've been getting calls all day for that book. I was like, God damn it! But then I've learned over the years that it definitely is part of the culture.
Absolutely.
Of collecting, and that's not just comic books. That's across the board. That's with shoes, and I know the shoe scene, for example, hate flippers, but people who collect shoes will still flip their shoes.
Action figures, yeah, absolutely. Action figures. Yeah, so there's always flippers, and there's always investments, and I've got vinyl that I bought as investments. And now probably I will never sell in my life.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to get at.
I love the album.
If you had some of these big books, right? Because, like, for example, I asked you before, do you have First Wolverine? You said no. And if you had it, would you sell it? You said no. Well, I mean, what would you sell? So for me, like, there's books.
I wouldn't sell them in my store. I wouldn't sell them here.
Okay. But like, a lot of the stuff I collect, I'm getting to a point in my collecting realm, like I've got too much. I need to get rid of some of it, right? But there's always going to be those books, and some of those books are worth money. I don't want to get rid of them because that's why I'm a collector. I collect that. I like the idea knowing that I've got that book. But does everything have a price?
Yes, everything has a price, whether it's 50 cents or $2 or $1, it doesn't matter. But I don't have vintage. I'm not a big vintage guy. I don't know why. I just never went
back
down
in the day.
Yeah, but I was more the 90s guy. I collected in the.
And you know what? You
90s.
have sold books that you regretted selling.
Oh, absolutely, and I love the 80s. My favourite era is, I've said it before, from 85 to about 95. So I've got a lot of those books. And if I was to sell those books, I would never sell them in the store. I would always put them in. I would always do it at a fair, comic book fair. You know, eBay is good, but you just can't trust it really. Marketplace is another one you can't really trust.
Marketplace is full of ball breakers.
Comic book fairs are always better because you can look at the quality.
And you're literally dealing with people who are in the community.
Correct.
The main thing, I guess, we'll finish off with is, would you recommend someone to invest in comic books? Like, out of all the things, I need to make some money, what's a good way to make some money? Like, and I'm talking about, if you compare it to, say, other forms of investing, whether it be real estate, to action figures, to whatever.
With all investing, you got to spend money to make money.
But do you think comic book is a safe
It is safe.
investment? I don't think so.
I think it's safe, but it's like a stock market. I'll always say that. It will fluctuate up and down. And the thing is, if you want a quick sale, comic books aren't the way to go.
That's what I meant.
Absolutely. Quick sale, forget it.
Alright, that's all we have for you today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let us know in the comment. Again, fill us in because again, I've not been watching any of the videos about the whole CGC debacle. I just got told a little bit of the story.
I got told a bit of the story, but
yeah, but let us know what you guys think about investing in comic books. I know there's a lot of people we know that do it and are good at doing it. I've met plenty of people who have invested in comic books and being able to buy, you know, it's done them well. Let's just say that. So
yeah, good on them, man. Good luck to them.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a new year. So big things planned for the NOOB.
Big things planned for the NOOB.
Hopefully.
Yeah?
It's going to be our best year yet, I reckon.
Is it going to be our best year yet?
Yeah.
Here's to the best year. 2020 was 2024, yeah? 2024! Hey! A leap year. This year's a leap year.
Is it?
It is.
Oh, very good. Say bye, Mark.
Bye, Mark!
Keep it simple.
All right. First question. How's the diet going?
Well, I don't know if you can tell.
It's the t-shirt, buddy.
What? Come on.
Is anyone surprised that shit got by CGC? I mean, dude, I had a slab book here, a Superman book, and it had Marvel comics on it, on the label.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Right? So that is ridiculous. So I'm not fucking surprised.